Hello and welcome, I'm The Resolves, and this is the second video in our Mana Rock series. And this one is, we're going to be taking a look at a deck build. We're going to take a look at all the individual cards, and then we're going to take it out for a game. So I'm playing quite late English time, so it's quite likely we're going to have to play against the AI, because there's not too many people on the closed beta right now. Although if you do pop yourself over onto the Discord, then we should be able to get some matchmaking going there. Okay, so today I'm going to be playing with a green-black Necromancer deck. So the Necromancer is a hero that can pay 2 to put a 1/1 zombie into play. That zombie's got charge, and this deck is able to really make the most of that. As not only can you use that ability as like a just way of pinging off one of the opponent's opposing units, much like the Red Mage's skill, but it does have some synergy with some of the cards in our deck, as well as just over the long game, just hitting the opponent for a couple of points of damage, just really making it a little bit easier for our heavy haymakers just to get in there and get the job done. So starting up the deck, we do have the playset of Healing Balm here. So this is an artifact. You're going to put this into play for 2 power. It's going to require 1 green, but if this is the first green spell that you've played, it'll just generate that mana for you, because it is going to transform one of your black manas into a green one. And this has got 3 charge counters on it, as you can see from the 3 just where the lightning bolt is. What this does is this is going to restore 3 health from a target, so that can either be you, because we do have a bunch of ways where we're going to be paying life to get a little bit of value, or it can just keep one of your reanimated fights in play for a little bit longer, because this can heal either a unit or a player. So this isn't a card I'd normally play in a bunch of games, but as the damage doesn't refresh at the end of turn on units, then I think it's actually a worthwhile inclusion. And here we go, get to see one of the places where we are actually sort of paying our life to sort of get ahead. And with this is a Disrupting Rod, which is another artifact, and it's got 3 charges too. And you pay 2 health to draw a card, and then you lose 1 charge counter. So pay 2 health does seem quite steep, but we do start the game with 35, so it really isn't, especially with the other ways we've got of gaining life. Next up, we've got another playset of the Bury Alive, and this will copy 2 random creature cards from your deck to your graveyard, so they won't be removed from your deck, so you are able to still play them when you draw them. But we only play 6 units in this deck, so this card is going to be sort of like a tutor to put things into our graveyard, so that later on we'll just be able to reanimate them. And the creatures we've actually got is, I'll take a look at those there. We've got the Giant Stag, which is just a really huge beater. This is a 9/9 Rush Alert, so Rush is like the charge mechanic here, and Alert is the Endurance or Vigilance. So this is just going to come down, just eat up whatever the biggest thing is, or just fireball your opponent in the face for 9. And it doesn't take too long for this to be able to end the game. We've also got the Hydra, which is an 8 power 8/8. And this doesn't really have any fancy battle skills, but it does have a sort of pseudo hexproof here, in that it cannot be the target of sorceries, powers, artifacts, and shouts, which is a bit of a double-edged sword. This is more like Shroud from Magic the Gathering, in that we're not actually able to heal this because that would be targeting it, but our opponent just has to deal with this 8/8 wall, and we're probably going to be able to gobble up a good number of their units just in the keeping of this unit. And if we manage to hit through all the units, then as well as the Giant Stag, this is just a huge beat. It's going to end the game real quickly once you've turned it around. I've got the Pit Lord as well, and this might not sound too exciting because you only have 6 creatures, but at the end of your turn it's going to put a creature from your graveyard onto the battlefield. So for the most part, if you actually play this from your hand, you are going to get value from it, or even if you reanimate it, because the Shallow Grave spell is going to put 2 units into your bin, so you're going to be able to play this and then reanimate the other one, which is some pretty nice value. And most of our targets are actually really worth reanimating as well, especially the Northern Griff Rider, which is up next. And this is Rush and has a Burial, so that's an Entomb or a Dies effect. So when Northern the Griff Rider dies, it'll summon a Whitetail Griff, which is a 5/6 token. So you're often able to play the Northern, like trade it into something else, and then you've got this 5/6 back. So it sort of makes it feel like it's got Endurance Vigilance, because you will be left with a front row token that is going to be able to protect you on the next turn. Actually, I just remembered as well, this is the green-black Necro, not the blue-black one that I created. So this has actually only got 4 creatures in it rather than the 6. So these are the heavy hitters here, but we'll get back to the rest of the deck and then you'll see what this deck's really all about. Next up, we've got the Sunstone, which is a legendary artifact, so we can only play 1 of this. But this is super powerful. It's basically free the turn you play it, but for the most part, you're just going to place on 2 and then activate it on 3 because that'll bring up all the way to 5 if you really need to, or just activate it on 4 and that'll bring it to 6, and that's when you should be able to start playing our fights, because then we've got like the backup plan of if we're not able to reanimate something, then we are going to be able to just ramp it out with the Sunstone. Sunstone is probably on a power level par with something like a Sol Ring, because this is going to really help to get ahead. It is an artifact and it does only have 2 charge counters, but often you're only going to need that just to really get ahead. Let's look at the Shallow Grave, which is a little like Haunting Scream, but this is just going to return the top creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It'll receive Rush and it will die at the end of turn. So this is going to be able to be used as sort of a removal spell, but with some of the units we've got that do have effects, then this is going to trigger those, because the Northern Griff Rider will die and you'll still get the Whitetail Griff. And the Pit Lord at end of turn, you should still be getting your other creature back from the graveyard. So that card's pretty nice in here. And I suppose you can see, because we've got so few creatures, that the Bury Lives are really a role player in this deck. We've got Shatter as well, which is going to destroy target artifact, so that's probably going to be used to destroy our opponent's Sunstones or any other sort of nuisance artifacts they've got. There's a couple that will sit in play and either spit out units or be able to give other units like permanent buffs, so we really want to deal with those so that our opponent's units and board just stays really under control. We've got Natural Selection as well, which is another green spell, and this is going to sacrifice an allied creature, so remember we can use this on turn 4 to summon a skeleton with our Necro hero power, and we'll get to sacrifice that to put a random creature from your hand onto the battlefield. But given we've only got 4 creatures, it's not very random, and it's pretty much always going to be a big fire that's going to be able to do the job. Also got Sacrifice as well, and when I first read this card I was not very impressed, because I thought kill target creature, its controller draws 2 cards, that seems pretty bad. But the good thing about this is it doesn't matter who's in control of that creature, so you can use this along with your hero power to be able to draw 2 cards, and it's just going to really be able to get you through your deck and just find all your sort of pieces that we want to be using to get the reanimating on. As well as in a pinch, it can just get rid of like a really important card that our opponent's got. They get to draw 2 cards, but if it was like their legendary that was in play, we get to remove that and they get 2 other less valuable cards, and we should be able to push them for damage that turn. Next up we've got Altar of Blood, and this is a messed up card. So this is another artifact, and it's got the action that sacrifice an allied creature, so remember also that hero power skeleton. And we get to pay 3 health, and we put a random creature from your graveyard into play, and you lose a charge counter. You are only able to do this twice, but often that's going to be enough. You're going to have turned like your hero power skeleton into like a Griff Rider or a Pit Lord, or just one of the giant green monsters like the Hydra or the Great Elk. So as you can see here, we've got like a bit of a theme here where we are paying life. So those healing balms that we looked at first are really sort of earning their place in the deck right now. Got Pacify as well, which is another green spell, and I think this is one of the best removal spells in the game. This is just a free cost destroy a creature. Its control restores health up to its attack. This has basically got no drawback because we're not really attacking in the early game. We just want to use this just to remove whatever our opponent's like 3 or 4 drop balls that was going to cause us some problems. Our opponent won't be able to go over their health limit, so much like in Hearthstone when you start with 25 and you can't go over it. This game's going to be much similar in that you start at 35 and your life won't go over it. So if you play this early in the game, it's basically got no drawback, and even in the mid game it's not got much of one because it is only going to be getting them like a couple of points there. Next up we've got the Elvis Touch, which is restore 10 health to a target. This doesn't sound like the best inclusion because mostly life gain cards that don't really do anything else are not generally very playable in a lot of card games. But in this one, because the damage stays on a unit, then this can just be in there to just keep your Great Elk alive just for a couple more turns, as that is a 9/9 beater that's going to be basically chewing up 2 units a turn. So you get to attack one of your opponent's units, kill it because you are a 9/9, then you get to heal it up to full, and then your opponent's going to have to fight through this just to get to you. But overall, in most card games I probably won't play this effect, although 3 power to gain 10 is a lot of reach, and there are a couple of burn decks going around because there's a couple of blue-red burn decks with the main hero of either blue or red. The blue one spits out the illusion tokens, which is just allowing that deck to sort of focus more on the burn spells and just have these little walls up to protect themselves. The red one's got obviously it's got the fire mage ability where they're able to just ping, and there's also the yellow guy because they get to play dwarves, and the dwarves are really aggressive. Next up, we've got the Call Wolves here, so this is going to summon 3 1/1 Forest Wolves of Rush. We don't really have many synergies with this per se. I mean, of course, this is good to sacrifice these wolves, but for the most part, this is going to be like a sort of removal spell sort of thing, as well as being also defensive if we need it to be. If your opponent's got like a bunch of 2-1s and you just put these 3 forest wolves into play, then you either get to make the decision where you're going to be able to use these to kill your opponent's units, or get to hold these back just to have like sort of 3 walls in the way of you. Got Terrify as well, which is just a kill enemy creature. There's no questions asked, just if it's a thing, you get to kill it. And then we've got Doom as well, which is the destroy all creatures. This costs 5, so it's sort of nice as well because it costs just enough that your opponent's overextended into it. And then the last cards are just the units that we intend to be reanimating. And of course, most of these are legendaries, so you can only play 1 of legendary cards. Not sure how long that's going to be in place for, but thinking about the game economy when this comes out into like an open beta or a actually released format, then this sounds pretty good, as it means it's probably going to be quite easy to build a bunch of decks. As if the legendaries are such a staple, then you'll really need to fill up with like all the uncommons and commons that sort of do the rest of the work for the deck. Okay, so let's give this a go, see if we can get a game on the ladder. Otherwise, we'll just be playing against the AI and see how it turns out. Okay, so as you can see here, the Mana is currently in beta and queues may take a while. So it gives you the option to play against the computer if the queue has been longer than 60 seconds. If you get into the Discord, then you are able to set up matches with other players. But my time zone probably doesn't fit in well for games that are mostly played by Americans, although the developers, I believe they're adding more people to the closed beta like every couple of weeks. So eventually this should just improve up to a point where it's the sort of ladder experience where you find it more tolerable, where you're just going to be waiting in the queue for like 20 seconds and he's straight into a game. So we'd like to play against the computer, and we're going to be playing against the Forest Elf. So look at this hand, our opponent is a green deck, so they're probably going to be playing lots of big units, so hopefully this Doom will be able to do some work. I've got the Altar of Blood as well, which isn't looking too great here because the Hydra is in hand and not in the graveyard. I've also got the Sunstone, which does help us. I think I'm just going to mulligan the Hydra, just to hope to find something else to do with that. Okay, so got Northern. This is much better because we can just like pop the Sunstone on turn 4 just to make the Northern. Oops. And there's sort of the problem that we can have with Reanimator decks where you just draw all of your Reanimator targets. And I post played the, can't pronounce this, well, Fionoris Elves. This is a pretty sweet card because this is currently the only ramp card that is in play at the moment. But yeah, this has a +1 to hero mana, and it doesn't care if this dies, it's a battle effect, so when this enters place, it's going to happen. So I think we're just going to play the Disrupting Rod here. And then I'll just pay some lives to draw a card here. Then next turn, I'm probably just going to set up the Sunstone for the next turn. So you can see our opponent's using the natural selection here, but their deck is full of units, so it's not going to be quite as exciting as ours. Okay, we've got a natural selection of our own, so we can get this Pit Lord in pretty easily. But for now, just play the Sunstone. I suppose I'll just draw our card. And then pass the turn. And then next turn, we're probably just going to like ramp out the Northern Gryph. And then the turn after, we'll natural selection just to get the Pit Lord out. So I've got a 4-2 over here with Cleave, which is basically Overwhelm. I've also just got a straight 4-4, but we're not able to attack this. Also, our opponent really didn't want to like cheat this into play because this restores 8 health to your hero, which is really big in burn matchups. But when we've not been pressuring the life total, it's just like a overcosted 4-4. So right now, just gonna chuck the Northern out. This gets to trade with this, which is pretty nice because then it's going to leave us back at 5-6. Then we get to pass card. No reason to draw a card here. Pretty happy with what we've got. So our opponent's going to have to use a spell here just to get through. Okay, so I'm just going to think here now how we want to do this because we can also hit the Giant Stag, which would be pretty nice. So I'm just going to use my hero power. We can hit the player because our opponent's not got a front row unit. And then we'll just natural selection this. So sacrifice this, and then we get to put a random unit into play. And we get the Pit Lord, which is sweet. So is there anything else we want to do in this turn? Well, next turn we are perhaps able to play the Giant Stag. We'll draw a card first, because we will be able to use this 2 power. Okay, well, we might have to use this Elvish Touch on ourselves at some point. And then I think we're just going to follow up. Yeah, so we're going to play the Altar Blood, but I don't think we really need to. So we're going to pass the turn, and then we're going to get a 5/6 into play. There we go. I think we're really going to see the Healing Balm come into its own here. As now we're able to just keep our Pit Lord alive for as long as possible. I suppose we could just call Wolves here as well. And it's going to give us our second green pip as well, so we should be able to play the Giant Stag next turn. And another nice thing about the Pit Lord is that actually it's going to be really helping us to defend ourselves, because at the end of the turn it's going to put something into play. Okay, so now we've got a bit of a problem because we need to deal with this Hydra, but we should be able to get through it. And getting things into the bin sort of fine, because whilst we've got the Pit Lord in play, I think the game's pretty much just wrapped up now. I'm just going to keep healing the Pit Lord, and no reason to play any other spells, because we should have our opponent dead on the next turn. Well, our opponent has actually got some great value out of this healing elf here, because it's been able to put themselves back up to 30. But I'm just going to trade off my Griff again just to get that in the bin. But it's pretty much a foregone conclusion here that the game's just going to be over. Yep, and I've got no worries. I was sort of looking for a way to sort of sacrifice one of these, so we've got to get the Pit Lord trigger again, because now our board is full. But now I get to get a little bit of value off these wolves, because they're going to help us to gobble up the snake. But as the wolves are tokens, they shouldn't be going into our graveyard, so that means that our Pit Lords are actually really good in this deck, because they should be able to hit any sort of chaff. And for this is probably like the best Pit Lord deck you could make, because it's only really good hits that you can actually hit with it. So just sacrifice this just so we can get rid of it. And then play out Altar the Brood. Use our ability, hit our opponent for 1. We'll sacrifice this, and if we hit a Griff, we get to win. There we go. So get to winning some style there. So unfortunately we couldn't play against a real player, but maybe we'll have a little bit better luck when I manage to coordinate something in the Discord. But thanks for watching. I've been That Resolved, and this was Mana Rocks.